JC.
Oh my gosh, this is the second time we have had you on the podcast. Last time we were in my living room.
Yes, we were on the bed, all three of us.
No, not like that. We were not. Well, let's
no.
just clarify. Everybody, it was not a threesome. We were surrounding my bed. It was giving like the Last Supper.
Yes, it was.
And if anybody's unfamiliar with that, I'm talking Bible because he's a pastor's son. I have been to church. Mm-hmm. Your father is.
No, he's not.
Just kidding. Close.
My dad wishes he was a pastor.
Damn.
Yeah, no,
This Pride season, we're coming for all the pastors. Nick, how have you been?
I've been so good. It's been so long since I've been on this podcast.
I think last time too, when we were, as you said, in bed, cuddling each other, we went next door to the grocery store and we grabbed some wine.
We did.
This time we're staying sober.
We are.
We're hydrated.
Yes. I just had some coffee and some water.
Uh-huh. How do you like your coffee?
I like it with cream and sugar.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just how they like it
I
in
don't
the
like
South.
bitter things.
I don't like them bitter either.
No.
You know, I like them black. I like it like dark. I don't like sugar inside of my coffee though. I think like it's just not my. I'm more of like a milky girl. I'm a creamy girl.
Yeah.
I love cream. When cream goes inside and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you gotta stir it up.
You have to stir it up.
Swallow it all. Gulp it down.
Just gulp the
almost
cream.
Like choke on it because it's so thick.
So sometimes I get a surprise because I didn't mix it enough, and then all of a sudden it just kind of
coming
so
out your
dirty.
nose.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
It feels so good to
What
be
a
gay.
great segue.
Yeah, it really good. Talk to me about. Let's just jump right in fucking
Let's
into
do
it.
it.
Well, I was gonna say like, how was your coming out story? But let's give it a solid 15 seconds. People are still warming up to the podcast. What are you doing this Pride? I know we have WeHo Pride, which for the girlies that are not in LA, it's West Hollywood Pride this weekend, and then next weekend, which is when this is gonna be live, is Los Angeles Pride.
I know.
So talk to me about every single detail. Don't miss anything.
So I went to WeHo Pride last night. I'm going later today as well to the Out Loud Festival. I'm excited. Purple Disco Machine was amazing last night, and tonight I'm excited to see. Well, Vincent, our friend, is performing, so I'm excited to see him and Trixie. But there's a bunch of other artists. But yeah, it's so much fun. I love how they like shut down all of Santa Monica, which is where all the bars are, and it's like you can bar hop, and then also, and I think it's open container because my friend was talking to a cop with a White Claw in his hand and nothing happened. And so anyway, and then you can go, if you have the pass, you go into the festival and you can come in and out, and it's like right there. It's so convenient. Like if your friends, if they didn't get a pass, you can just like hop out and say hi to them at the bars, and it's really fun. And then I will be out of town next weekend, so I will miss LA Pride.
Where are you gonna go?
Going to New York for a heterosexual wedding, unfortunately, which is kind of anti-Pride month.
It's kind of backwards.
Yes,
Because the allies should be supporting us, and they decided to get married.
Yeah, that was kind of fucked
And
up.
you're going to support the
And
marriage that's going to be in the middle
She
of
claims
the
to be an ally. Yeah.
Well, I'm good at math, and I'll be doing that math later. Doesn't add up now.
Don't forget to carry the one.
Oh, thank you so much. Divided by 2. So here we are today doing math. I get confused because there is like a concert this weekend, and then the concert is next weekend, and then there's just constantly concerts. When is Kylie Minogue playing is, I guess, a question.
She's at WeHo Pride, I think, right?
I guess we both don't know.
I want to say she was last night, but I missed her.
I didn't see any posts though. No, she was. Kesha was last night.
You know, I triggered. Kesha performed, and I wasn't there. I got the Saturday and Sunday pass, but she performed Friday, and my friend put on his story, like just the shot of Kesha performing, and she has a flag that was black and white, but it said freedom, and she was wearing all red, and I literally thought it was Marjorie Taylor Greene I thought my friend was at a Trump rally. I was so triggered because like of all the news that just came out, and I'm like clicking on it, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I zoom in, I was like, oh, that's Kesha.
Wait, is Marjorie for us?
No, she was giving bleach blonde, you know.
Bad built butch body.
Butch body, yes.
I mean, honestly, I think that's what
Bs.
Marjorie gives. And if Marjorie really leaned in more to the butch body part, I think that she could really align with our core values here in the gay community.
You know what's so scary? I was saying this to a friend earlier, not to get onto politics, but like MAGA is so camp. You almost like love them. Like I'm like, this is like when I see stuff on Facebook and see people like literally putting like Jesus Christ over Trump being like, I was guilty too. Or they called me guilty. And then, I'm like, wait, I kind of like, it's so funny. And I'm like, they like border this line that I'm like, ah.
I never seen this. Do you have a picture?
Wait, give me a
Jesus
second.
over Trump saying I was.
They called me guilty too. Or they said I was guilty too.
I have been around people who support Trump, and they're not that different. But then there's ones that are just so wild, and this is the ones that are online. You know, because we live.
I don't really have like any friends that are Trumpers. I have friends that are Republicans, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not like Trumpers," and I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Like,
But I love that Jasmine girl. Like, she really ate that girl up.
oh, she did.
You know, when the girls these days say no crumbs, like there weren't even crumbs to begin with because
Mm-hmm.
she came and she gave her one bite, and that one bite hit.
So-
To me was wondering, did Marjorie go home and just like cry herself to sleep? Like, was she thinking, was she looking? I thought to myself, this is what I thought when I saw it, because I have a big imagination. I imagined her going into her home, getting completely naked, looking at her blonde hair first. Then she looked at the bad build, and then she really kind of took in the butch body.
Here we go. Sorry, it took me forever to find it.
They called me guilty too, and it says it's
send it to you.
okay. Oh no, we're gonna put this up so people can
It
see
says
this.
like
This
you're
is-
on Facebook right now.
What? Here, I just. So wait, did you go? Or do you get on Facebook?
I love Facebook.
Tell me
No, I love
more.
it. They have great recipes. They're also like the drama. I love like my like hometown, like the moms all fighting. Because you know when you're kids, you think adults are adults, and then you realize that like adults are just like grown-up
Fucking
kids
idiots.
that are like
Okay.
still like petty. And I like live for like all this adult like drama and stuff. So I love Facebook for that. And then also they have great like I like to garden, so they have the algorithm's really good with like gardening tips and
Well, if you'd like to, I mean, we would love to hear at the Wholesome Podcast on how to stay wholesome. What is the latest on Facebook with some of the drama happening down south?
well
Didn't expect that. Pop quiz.
It's just there's just drama between my Republican Christian school. There was
Okay.
the headmaster was let go, and there was just drama with like the whole reason why, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like it's a whole thing, and it's complicated because he's so liked, and he was a football coach, and then
Mm-hmm.
but apparently there was like some scandal, and it's just like
I'm sorry to say that was really not fun. I was hoping there was adultery. I was hoping like somebody was stealing flowers from somebody else's garden. Like I wanted to get like some down and deep, but you were like, well, he got let go, and then you got really political on me. But hey, here we are. So I guess that makes us want to jump into how to coming out of the closet. So speaking of down south, one of the things I guess is a highlight of Pride Month is just being proud of who you are. Sometimes it comes with generic terminology, which gets a little bit lost in its true meaning. But I was thinking back on like how grateful I am to be out of the closet, because you remember what it was like when you were in the closet. It sucked dick, which actually, funny enough, you weren't yet, but you were dreaming of it. I was thinking, okay, what was it like when I wasn't out of the closet? I mean, I used to sneak my parents' laptop. They don't even know this. I used to sneak their laptop. This is why you guys had a virus on the second laptop, guys. And download on LimeWire, if you guys are familiar, pornography. And you would go and you would just, I don't know if, did you ever do that too, the LimeWire situation?
I never did. I thought LimeWire was music.
Oh, no, you can download porn too. So let me go back to the story. So I downloaded Plentiful. Like I was just, and I would kind of do what I now know is edging. I would kind of like, play a little bit with it just to like get the engine going. And then once, the key was in the ignition, I kind of went through every single video,
Wait, how old were you?
I was like a humble 12.
Okay.
Yeah, 14, 15, 16. And so I was thinking of that. I was like, God, that's my only recollection of like being in the closet was like the case of like doing that. What was your like before when you were in the closet? And then we'll talk about when
I
you
was
came
like in
out.
full denial. Like I was a lot of gay friends I have, they talk about being in the closet. They were like hooking up, they were on Grindr, they were whatnot. I was like, I am straight. I am like, I mean, I did look at porn, but like that was, and then post nut clarity, I was like, Jesus Christ, like come back into me. Not
Getting
like
on your
that.
knees.
Yes.
To pray.
Well, yes. But yeah, so I was like in complete denial, and then had a lot of self-hate because of that. So like the closet was a very dark place for me, but I like masked it with like, I guess my personality. Like people thought I was fine, but I like was not okay.
When you were coming out, like what was the steps that you had to take? Because when you're in like that deep,
Yeah.
see, for me, I was just like, I need to get out of the closet. Like I'm so anxious. I had no denial. I had none of that. But I had many friends that have experienced what you did, and I'm like, God, that's really hard. I think some family members that I know also went through something like that too. So yeah, how did you end up figuring out like I can do this? let me come out of the closet?
It took a while because I was like 22. Like I would not have been ready to do it at 16, which is why like it's so important to not out people, because like it's so important that they come out when they're ready. And I was 22 and I felt like, okay, I'm like mentally prepared to like, if shit hits the fan or things go south, like I'm like a functioning human that I can support myself. Because like it was the type of situation where like I was risking being exiled from my family if I came out, like being authentic or being who they want me to be. That was a long process, but I would say like I was actually in denial until 2020. I was 20, and then that's like there was a year period where I was like, okay, actually I'm gay, and like I'm okay with this.
So who was the first person you came out to? When did you finally say it to somebody that wasn't yourself?
I think the first time I said it, I told my I don't remember this story because it was, I like blocked it out, but my friends told me that my roommate at the time, it was a guy, he and his girlfriend were like, they could tell I was upset, and they were like, we never, like I was crying in front of them, and they had never seen me cry before, and they're like, what's going on? And I like couldn't say I'm gay, and apparently I spelt it out, which is so embarrassing.
You spelled like it was giving Scrabble.
Yes. I was like, I am, and then I spelled out gay.
But instead it was like, will you marry me? It's
Yes.
like, will you get me out of this closet?
I'm dyslexic though, so I hate Scrabble. So I'm fucked up that you would bring that.
You know what's crazy? When you say that you're dyslexic and you put it online, I realize I switch letters all the time. All the time. And it looks normal to me. And then somebody will be like, hey girl, like, let's switch that. And I'm like, maybe I'm dyslexic.
I's and E's are the worst for me.
I's and E's are fine to me.
Okay.
It's okay. I'm like bragging now, like throwing it in your face. Like,
maybe
you
you
know what?
don't.
Actually, I'm genius. No, I don't know which one mine is. It's like sometimes the D and the L will start like, not that I put DL all the time. I just switch weird words together.
Yeah.
How did you find that out? Because I still actually, because of you, I'm a lot more aware that I do it because you put it up online a lot.
Yeah. I talk about it because I've struggled with spelling, and it doesn't make sense because I was always like a good student and made good grades. But I like, if you based my intelligence off of my like reading and my writing and spelling, you would think I flunked out of school.
Now, are you good at like writing a story? Like, could you tell a story?
I could
pretty
tell a
well?
story, yeah.
Okay.
But I can't, like reading like hurts my brain. How I feel after, I remember like being in high school doing math, like how you would feel after like an hour of like math problems. So your brain's just like, that's how my brain feels when I read. So like if I'm at the beach and I want to be relaxing, I'm like, reading is not what I would want to do.
Are you a beach queen?
I am a beach queen.
Last episode, we were just talking. If you guys haven't listened to it, check it out. We were talking about if we're a beach person or a pool person. I don't like, and we were like, hey,
You
let's
don't like
ask somebody
sand.
who hates sand.
I knew it.
I fucking hate. Well, here it is. It's like
One look at you and I'm like, he doesn't like sand.
sand hater. When I go into my car, I don't want all this sand in my car, and then I have to vacuum it up. It's like, I definitely keep my car dirty on the way there so that I clean it after.
Yeah.
But like, then those girls that you see going to the beach every week or even multiple times, like, are they Ubering? Like, what are they doing?
I rarely ever go to the beach because it's so fucking far. Everyone's like, oh, you live in LA. You like how many? I'm like, I've gone to Santa Monica, like to the beach, like maybe 3 times last year.
Wow.
I love it, but I just, it's such a hassle and like parking. But I want to be better about making it more of a priority. But speaking of sand and beach, because I do love beach and I'm a beach queen. My boyfriend, however, I found out because we were traveling together, I hate sand in like the bed. I hate sand like when I'm like laying out on the beach and like have the towel. Like I do not want sand on that towel as best as I can. Like you know, a little bit gets on, but whatever. My boyfriend will like literally walk from the ocean, have sand all in his feet, and then just like step on his towel and just like get sand all over it. And I'm like, you are a psychopath.
Yeah,
Like,
that's so annoying.
it was crazy.
I would be like really, I would want to like wash them, but then once you wash your feet, then you have to walk to your car still, and then you're still wet.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
You just wait for, once you dry, you have to wait for it to dry, and then once it's dry, you can just like get it all off.
See, I don't mind the pool part. The pool thing is easy because you get in, you get out. Sometimes I don't even get in. Sometimes I just am out. You know, as I am out of the closet. And going back to Pride. Oh my God, look at us. Okay.
It all comes back to Pride.
100%. You know what? So I was actually I put this in my brain because I thought about it before bed. My best ideas come in the shower or when I'm like about to go to sleep, like right at like smack 1 a.m. I'm just like crusty still out and I'm like noting things. But one of the thoughts I had was, okay, if I had a magic wand, I would love like during Pride Week to like know who's gay and who isn't. Because okay, yes, it is wrong to out people. Do not out people. I don't know which camera we're looking at. I'm looking at all of them. Do not out people. That is so wrong and I feel so bad. Like we don't need to rush people to come out. We don't need to rush Princess Kate to like tell us what she's doing. We don't need to rush people to do anything. What I do want and what I wish we could in society is to like really know who is gay. Like, isn't your curious super high?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people I just can already tell.
I do too, but then I'm like, okay, so you're eating box because you have a girlfriend.
Box, yeah.
So yeah.
I got that reference.
So like you're choosing every day, like you're having sex with this woman, but you're gay? Maybe.
Maybe.
I am curious. And people were like, well, I don't really care. I'm like, oh yeah, same here. La la, shut the fuck
No, we
up.
all
No, I
care.
actually really
No, we all
care.
care.
Like I am so curious. Now, I wish like on Pride there could be like a little flag.
Well, I will say, like, especially being in LA, it is much harder. It's great that straight guys like are like fine going to Pride. And I know I see straight people at Pride, but then I'm like, wait, you're a guy and you're at Pride. Are you gay? And they're like, no, I'm straight. I'm like, oh, good for you, ally. But
Yeah,
like also,
ally.
I'm just not used to that. And they also like dress like, you know, like guys dress more stylish now.
You sounded like a 45-year-old woman from the South. You know, and men, you know, they dress like, you know, nicer. Very, very, very flamboyant.
If you're told you're flamboyant, like that's worse than the F word. Well, it isn't the F word, but like we know which one. The other one.
We were talking about before how I hate the F-A-G-double-O, whatever the fuck.
Double G.
Double G-O-T. I fucking hate that word. But speaking of people from down south that have that accent, so you got me into Sue Bell.
Yes.
Oh. Obsessed. We may have to cut to show you guys at least one video.
We'll have to cut.
She is incredible.
She's iconic.
Everybody, it's Sue Bell in Palm Beach. Happy Saturday, and it's going to be happy because you don't have to worry what Sue Bell's wearing today. I'm going to tell you all about it.
I mean, she's like perfect.
Yeah.
I love on the internet, I think I'm in the 2023, 2024, I'm into delusion. I'm into somebody who's so far deluded in their delusion that like they believe it. And if they're selling it, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm at this point a customer.
Yes. When I'm on Instagram and a new Sue Bell post comes up, I'm like, stop what I'm doing, like volume up, like I have to watch it. It's amazing.
Sue Bell, if you're listening, like we love you so
We
much.
love you.
Thank Nick because Nick sent it to me and I was like addicted. You had sent me another woman who runs a golf course.
She runs a golf course and she just doesn't do it like Sue Bell, but she's really funny because, and I don't even know her name, and obviously she's not going to be seeing this, so I can say, she's more like, I love Sue Bell. That woman, I'm laughing at, not laughing with.
Come down to Martin Downs. Book your tea time with our pro shop. You won't be disappointed. Have a great day, and it's always a beautiful day at Martin Downs.
Yeah.
You know, like because she's like eye fucking the camera.
Yeah.
I
And
forget-
she
she's
really thinks
like,
she's that girl.
Will you guys come to the golf course? And
Yeah.
she's like
It's going to be a hole in one.
it's so funny, but it's like I'm like it's almost cringe that's why I love her. It's like so cringe and camp, but then Sue Bell, I'm like, oh no, I actually want to be her friend. I want to have lunch with her.
Well, and Sue Bell knows that her opinion matters. You know, it's kind of like in the Devil Wears Prada. Her opinion is the only one that matters.
Yes.
But Sue Bell really, like my mom, showed her and my mom was obsessed because there was one where Sue Bell was talking about how she got a new car, but maybe she should give it back and go for pink. What do you guys think?
Hey, it's Sue Bell. Don't be jealous now. I just bought this. Do you think I'll look good in it?
I love that she engages with her audience more.
Yeah.
And it's a big lesson for me because I should engage more with the Wholesome podcast listeners and ask them questions because she asks like the most like the questions that nobody really gives a fuck about, but you kind of do. But anyway, I live for her. One of the things that I do when I do see her is I wish I could learn hair and makeup. Like she goes in the blow dryer blow dries.
No, it
you know what
does.
I mean? And she uses the heated one. Like she doesn't care about new technology. She wants the old technology, right?
She's an old school.
Yeah, and then she also does like the cake. Yeah, she's caked up to the face up,
she
mama,
is.
like to the ceiling.
And I love that she loves animal print. Like she's like all about leopards. She's all about like
And she wears the same white jean almost every single.
she loves a white jean.
And they're from something couture. I remember. I mean, dude, there's like chips on my chest. There's like drool coming out of my mouth. I'm just like, hi, I'm Sue Bell. Hey, it's Sue Bell.
And she does this thing where she has her followers will send in a photo and they're like, rank my outfit. And she's so sweet. Like I'm like, she could shred this person apart, but she's always so nice. But it would be honestly like, I feel like she would have better engagement if she like shredded people because hearing Sue Bell shred you would be.
I mean, sometimes she gives like a pretty like
does,
good
yeah.
opinion about something.
She's
where
like, I hate the shoes.
yeah, she's like, you look beautiful, but I don't know about that. I'm not gonna lie. I did ask her to erase. No, I'm not lying. I'd love if you critiqued my photo.
It's like all pink.
It's like all pink, and I was like, okay, maybe that'll get her to like talk about it because she loves
Yeah.
pink and everything like that. And I look really good. So, but she never really read it. So, Sue Bell, I'm really trying to put these feels out for you. If you see this podcast episode, please critique my photo.
Please.
Like, I don't care about anybody's opinion, but I care about Sue
She
Bell's.
replied to, I commented on her post and she replied to me. She
What did
didn't
she
follow
say?
me back, but she replied. It was, she's Sue Bell from Palm Beach. And she was doing a Palm Royale party. She was at a Palm Royale party, which is an Apple TV show that I worked on. And she basically was just giving free press out to, Apple TV. And I tagged Apple TV and I said, give this girl a brand deal. And then she said, like, add a girl. She said, add a girl to me. So I'm like, she knows. She knows. And I've gotten shit
Like,
because I
at a girl or
add
a girl?
Add a girl. Like, you tell them, girl, like, sis, And I've gotten shit because people will, like, I post her and I'm obsessed with her. And people aren't perfect and we don't have to, like, I'll just say what I'm going to say. She is apparently a Trumper, and because if you click on her followers, she's like follows a bunch of like Trump people and like Republicans. And I'm like, okay, so she's Republican, but like the only way to change someone's mind is to like get in their life, and then she's going to be like, oh, I love all these gays. Oh, like I don't want to be supporting something that's against these people that I love, and
I
then
am
she's
very
going
about
to
that
change.
too. I'm also just about not even expecting that because it's just like what happened to the times where we just love people for who they are?
Yeah.
Because I thought that's what we were supposed to do. I mean, I feel like our world that we live in, as far as even gay people, it's like we're supposed to love each other, but then there's a lot of hate that we throw out. So it's like it's a little contradicting.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you, and I've always been about that because my parents are also Trump supporters, and it's never come between us. Like it's not an issue with us how they view things. Now, of course, like, do I wish things were different? Sure.
Yeah.
But I also love them the way they are. You know what I mean? I guess to me, it just doesn't change the way I feel about
Yeah,
them.
and a lot of people, that's just the way they don't like taxes.
Yeah.
I like gays. I just don't like taxes. And I'm like, what? That I can deal with.
Vote for Trump. Just kidding. He's a felon.
Real women. Vote for Trump.
Oh my God, that's so fucked up. But I do want to keep that. No, it's not good. Guys, do not vote for Trump. Like
no,
we're
don't.
not endorsing that idea. Please don't do that. But as I've progressed this podcast, I've learned that speaking my opinion is completely fine. I think for a while, I was definitely tiptoeing around certain things, and then after a while, I was like, I feel like I'm kind of lying almost. And I'll just be super honest. I think this podcast is all about being completely transparent. Keyword and on the trans. But I really thinking like I got to be super super honest, even if it's not unpopular. You got to.
Yeah.
So like loving people for who they are, even if they're Republican Trump supporters. I mean.
Yeah.
As long as they're not over there being Marjorie or
Yeah, like a Marjorie Taylor Greene person, I could not be in the same room with her.
sure. Or if Sue Bell was online like hating gays,
Yes,
that,
I would have to unfollow.
exactly. I mean, but she's
but
not
she's
doing
not.
that. Yeah,
and she
yeah.
called me a girl, so she's like
She's a
an
girly.
ally.
Yeah, she's an ally. Okay, so speaking of Palm Royale, what I heard.
Maxine Simmons?
So Jamie just said right now that she loves the show. If you knew episode 6,
Well.
then you would know that Nick was in it. Or did you see him in it?
He looks so familiar.
He was inside of. I'm like all excited. I was
He
so
was in
proud
it.
of you.
Ricky Martin. I worked on it as a director's assistant for all the episodes. So it was like from February of 2022 to November 2022, I worked on that show. So I got to know the cast really well. When episode 6 came around, there was a role, gay construction worker, and I had like a fierce mustache at the time. And the show was 69. So I basically looked like I guess a gay man in the 60s. And so they didn't even ask me they knew I would want it. But like I got actually hair and makeup called me and they asked me costumes called me and they asked me for my sizes. And I was like, why? And they're like, for the role. I was like, what role? And then like that later on the day, the showrunner was like, congrats. I was like, no one told me anything. But anyway, I was like, yes, I'll do it. I have a line. I say 2 words and the scene's with Ricky Martin.
Okay, so wait. So everybody stop for a second. All right, say it.
No names.
Oscar.
Now,
Emmy. You know what I
So
mean?
it's with Ricky Martin and Dominique, and I say it to Dominique, but basically the scene is they're in a bookstore, and back in the day, this is where men would cruise, and there was this book where if you were gay, you would just write your name and a phone number, and that's how you found the like local gay guys, and you would blind call them and like see, I guess, meet up and see if you wanted to have tea or something. And so my character's cruising in
Or
the
fuck.
bookstore. Yeah, more yeah. And Ricky Martin's character grabs the book, and then basically the guy introduces himself to me. Dominique's character, Grayman. He's the seamstress in the show, and he introduces himself, and my line is no names. Like we're fucking with no names. So that's,
Tell us about which one they decided, because you told me that you had different different octaves.
So this is my first like on camera, which was pretty cool. That it was like for this big Apple TV show. It was my first credit.
By the way, side note, were you so nervous?
Oh, I was sweating bullets.
Yeah.
It was amazing though. I was so nervous, but I literally had 2 words. No names was I wasn't gonna forget my line. And I like play like a butch.
Imagine you're like, names! No! No! To the names! They're like, can you just say no names?
They're like, can someone else go? But I, of course, like practiced the night before being like, no names. Because I was like, this super mask guy. And I'm like, no names. Like trying it all, like, no names. Like, no names. No names. And doing all that. We're shooting it. And then the director comes up and he's like, I think it's too mask. Like, you're already so masked. It's almost too, like, on the nose for you to be, like, no names. So he's like...
And you're like, you said masculine?
And he's like, let's do, like, an octave higher. And he went, no names. Like that. And I was like, And then I kind of froze. And so when we did it, it was more like, no names. Like that. And then, of course, that's the take that Apple picked.
I think that one was really good. I mean, I was floored. I mean, truly, I was like, wow, he really means no names.
No,
like,
I meant
and
it.
you meant it. You meant it. So speaking of masculine and femininity, I love that we're really hitting the bullet points today. So when I do these podcast episodes, I'm going to be really honest. I do produce them and I write a little list of like, okay, here's what we're going to talk about. Here's some talking points, and we're really hitting them like smoothly.
Segue.
Masculine and femininity. That's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I noticed like something on your Instagram. In your photos, you're more presenting more masculine. Mm-hmm. And I guess the argument is like, well, what is masculine and what is femininity? Do we need to label it? Do we not? But like, we live in 2024. We still label it. We're human. And I think I kind of relate in that way because in my photos and even the way I walk in my clothes, I'm intentionally more masculine because I think it goes with my style. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like a character that I'm doing. But back to you, when you're doing your videos, though, you're a lot more like feminine. You have this beautiful, like radiant queer energy that you bring to the camera that it's just like, please keep that forever. It's incredible. I love it. It's genuinely infectious. I think you're so beautiful and wonderful. And you put on these like breastplates.
I love
and
my
you're
titties.
You love your titties.
My mommy milkers.
Yeah, and then you get dressed in your like sexy little like gear. I can't remember what all of the stuff is because you have a couple outfits that you do. From that boy from the very beginning of life that was ashamed of being gay, obviously has no idea who he's gonna be this now. But how did you find your ground in that? Because I feel like, as for me, I always wanted to stay masculine. I needed to keep that masculinity up because I thought that's what men wanted. And as I explored who I really was, I allowed myself to naturally manifest and unfold. So for you, how did you find that?
It kind of just came to me. I honestly love being a character and I like to play like a female character. So while I present myself way more masculine and that's who I am comfortable being and I enjoy being masculine, but I definitely am more feminine. And like when I'm fun, my personality shows it's more on the feminine side. Any chance I get to like cross dress, I will do. Wait, that's not an offensive term, is it?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Because some people are like, "Oh, you're really not. You're just feminine because like the masculine's your like trauma of trying to be straight." And I'm like, no, I actually like enjoy being like masculine. I like my hairy chest. I like like the way I look. I just like to play, and when I play, like I love to put on heels and tits, and
Not one, just one big boob.
But yeah, so I mean, I like to play around in it, and I love that it's authentically like what I love to do, and then I like will make content, but it's all the more impactful when I hear people like say, like especially people in like rural states and stuff, and they're like, oh, I'm so scared to be flamboyant, and I feel this pressure to be more like straight. even though I'm gay, and like seeing you live like your truth is inspiring. And I'm like, I love that because at the end of the day, I'm just like putting on tits and heels, and I'm like, I'm not solving the world or like doing it. You know, I'm like, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
And someone being like, it's impacting their day to day. Like it's really, I don't know.
That's kind of amazing.
It is. It gives me chills. But anyway, all that to say, like, I love that it resonates with people. But yeah, like it kind of just, I didn't like wake up one day and I was like, I'm gonna put on tits. I've always, like when I was a little kid, I put on, I think a lot of gays have the story of like being 5 years old, going in your mom's closet and putting on high heels and like walking around. Like I did that, and I like loved Barbies with my sister. So I've always loved like feminine things,
Energy.
and I've
Yeah.
always loved flowers, and I've always had a feminine side. So it isn't just play, but I will say like I definitely have a feminine side, but I like to show it more than.
Did you ever hesitate at first posting like that? Or do you even remember posting that first thing that was kind of breaking you out of being that masculine facing guy?
Yes, I do remember. I forget what it was, but I do remember the first time I posted with like a wig, where I was like cross-dressing. I was more nervous because like I remember when I first came out, I was like, I'm gay, but I'm not like an F word. I'm like, you know, like I try to, because you want to, like, you're so scared and you're like, I'm just gay. Like, I'm not like, you know, like, I'm not going to go to Pride. And then like cut to me like,
Doing cartwheels and heels, letting
like
it flip in the air.
singing Eliza Minnelli, Cabaret.
Pride is the only thing on the calendar.
So I remember saying those things, being like, I'm gay, but like I'm not like, you know, like don't worry, I'm not gonna like be one of those gays. And then like I am 100% one of those gays. So I remember like hesitating, being like, oh wait, these people are gonna be like, wow, but they don't care. Like I feel like we are all in our heads and we think that people care what we do, and like we're like, oh my god, what are they gonna think if I do this? They don't give a shit. Like maybe some people do, but like I promise you, like post it. No one's thinking about you. No one's going to think about it tomorrow. Only you.
And even if they do, it really doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Because if I was out here trying to please people all day, then I wouldn't even know who I was, because you're trying to be something for everybody and it would be inauthentic.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
exactly. You won't be happy if you're people pleasing. I say that as I'm like, I am a people pleaser. Like
Same, but in different levels.
Yes.
We were talking about this earlier.
if I am like, if my haircut like gets fucked up, I'm like, oh my god, I love it. No, it's perfect. Thank you so much. Here's a 20% tip.
Here's a 60%. I really fucking love it. It's amazing. And you go home and start crying.
Yeah.
You fucking hate it. I am like that to an extent. I people please mainly to like avoid conflict.
Yes,
That's where my people
I
pleasing
hate
is. Me too. I hate arguing. I hate like drama. So like I'll just kind of step away and be like, oh, I'll be whatever. More recently in my like early 30s, I am definitely more about, if I have a problem with you, I will let you know. Yeah, and like it won't be a mistaken.
I love it when you hear interviews, especially celebrities, when they're in their 70s, they're like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. And like apparently every decade you give less of a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when you see like an unhinged, like 70 or 80-year-old, like just doing whatever the fuck they want to, like breaking rule, like societal rules. I love it.
You know who's been doing that since she was 14 is Cher. I mean, I feel like I watch old Cher interviews from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, and it was like she consistently didn't give a fuck. Like it was never a give to.
Yeah.
Besides, the only fuck she gave was her Bob Mackie looks, which she should have, and they were beautiful.
You know, Bob Mackie was at the Palm Royale premiere. I saw him. I didn't say hi, but he was with Carol Burnett. And like,
Wow.
Yeah, he was there. It was pretty iconic.
Did you get to meet Carol Burnett?
Yes, it was amazing. She's the sweetest, most like. She will ask you what your name is. She'll call you honey. Like she's so kind and so sweet. It's so funny that like of all the people, and we were really blessed. We had no divas on the show. Like everyone was, the cast was so nice to everyone. Like you always ask whenever you're on a set, you ask hair and makeup and you ask PAs. Like because if you ask if you ask the director, the producers, of course everyone's showing their best face to like those people. And so I always saw everyone's good side because I'm beside the director. But like hair and makeup and PAs, they know who the problems are. And anyway, the show was great. We didn't really have anyone, but it's just funny that like a lot of times in shows, it's your like very recent famous people that are like the most high maintenance, the most diva-ish, and then your people that are like Carol Burnett, who could literally scream at you, and you're like, okay, it's Carol Burnett. She's like 90. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. She like treats you like it's her first day on a set. Like. It's really inspiring.
Was it really cool to also see Kristen Wiig like in person? Because as a gay person and as a person who appreciates comedy and who loves
women in comedy
and just like improvisation, I mean all the things that both you and I love so much about comedy and acting, one of the gods are right in front of you. Right?
It was it was like sickening. I like wanted to throw up so many times. But I will say I started watching Housewives because of her, because the first day on set, she loves reality TV and she loves the Housewives. And so she was like, oh my God, I love the Housewives. And like, of course, instead of being like, oh, I don't watch the Housewives, I was like, oh my God, me too. And she's like, who's your favorite? And I was like, Heather Gay. It's like, she's one of the only ones I know. And then she's like, oh, I love Salt Lake City. I was like, yeah, me too. I love them. And then like our first like conversation was me being fake as fuck. But then I was like, wait, I need to watch the Housewives because I need to like have more conversations with Kristen Wiig. But she's so sweet. She's like one of those people where like, if you meet her, like she's who you want her to be. She's funny. She's quick. She's like, Carol Burnett's the same way. Carol Burnett is hilarious.
Really?
But yeah, so they're very
Wow.
similar. And actually, I got to witness Kristen meeting Carol Burnett at the table read, and like she was crying because like, I mean, Carol Burnett is like,
Carol Burnett.
for any woman in comedy, like that was, you know,
That's like the OG.
It was just like, so it was such a tender moment. And I like, of course I was crying, like in the distance. I was like,
I felt your pain. I went during, so Netflix is a Joke is a little part of Netflix that is in their second year. They had a festival. And one of the things part of the festival was at the Greek Theater, which is the first time I've ever been to the Greek Theater. Have you been?
no, I haven't been.
It's truly beautiful. Jamie, have you been? It's amazing. It's so gorgeous. But they were doing a live performance of Big Mouth from Netflix. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but Kristen Wiig is the vagina.
Yes.
Maya Rudolph is the female hormone monster.
yeah.
And then Nick Kroll, or however you say his last name,
everyone.
is everybody else. So it's my favorite is Lola. Oh my God, Nick.
That's what Publicity. Do you know Publicity that he does? Is it? Anyway, it's the same voice.
Yeah.
Liz.
Yeah.
Liz.
She's like, oh my
Got
God.
bangs.
Yeah,
I
so
love Nick Kroll.
I love him. He's so genius.
So funny.
But Kristen Wiig came on stage alongside Maya Rudolph, and you had other people too, and they were doing a read on stage, and it was just so amazing and so inspiring because I grew up knowing how to improv, and that was the only thing I could be good at. I was like, anytime I'd ever receive a script when I was living in New York, I'd be like, oh, how do I read this? Like, what do I do? I'm like, do I go upside down? Do I read it? How do I get into the character? Do I read the whole script? Do I not? Like, how does this whole thing work? Whereas if you give me an improv moment, I can definitely go back and forth. You and I have gone back and forth multiple times in different occasions. It's just easy.
Yes, I will say because I feel like you don't put yourself out there as much as you should. You are like one of the best people at improv right now.
Oh, wow.
You are so fun. I hate it when you improv because I'm like, oh God, he's so much better than me. And I
Dude,
get
yo.
nervous, but you're great. Not
Thanks.
I'm not saying like you're not working hard. I'm just saying like
You're not Kristen Wiig, though.
but you are so
I was hoping
funny.
you were to go there. You're like, oh, you're not Maya Rudolph,
Oh, yeah.
but...
No, but you're so funny, and he's really good at improv. And anytime we do it,
Thanks.
I love it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
because like you have to be quick. It's like a part of your brain that you're not used to using. And I've been taking I'm in the Groundlings, which is what Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig did. And you get better and better at it, but it is like a really hard thing to be so quick.
It's definitely a tool you have to build because you have to definitely live more in the moment than you really know.
And you always think you have to say a joke or be funny, and improv actually is not. You're not being funny. You're being funny by just like
Reacting,
being in the moment.
Yeah,
and
like
that's what I had to learn. Like I always wanted to say something funny, and so then I'm like,
and it's crazy because it makes you more nervous. Do you ever
Yes.
realize that? Because it's this expectation. This expectation is so little, but it's so big in that
Yeah.
moment, right? I learned when I was doing improv in New York City when I was 19, and I just did it for fun. But I think I didn't find my voice until I was in 7th grade, and so for me, I realized I was like, wow, this is like, it just comes out of my mouth. To be genuinely honest with you, I guess some people you have it or you don't is how improv works. But with me, sometimes I always say this is like I'm my own audience member because as things are like coming out of my mouth, I'm just like, wow, I keep saying the word coming.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride.
I love Pride. But it just starts coming out of my mouth.
The cum just keeps coming.
Dude, just come. Yum. But yeah, that's how it works. It is a hard thing to do, but I've heard, I think it's really cool when somebody either has a little social anxiety or they're just doing it to get a little bit more out of their shell. When I was in like a couple improvs ago, I think it was like, I don't know, don't quote me, 4 years ago. I met somebody in one of my classes and they were just doing it to get more comfortable talking. Genius, fucking, and brave, to be honest with you. Brave when you struggle that much socially.
Yeah. It is. It's a great, and a lot of the teachers will say that they like companies will hire them to go to retreats and the most important thing in improv is actually listening, and so that's a great skill to have in your entire life. But a lot of times, if you're thinking what I'm going to say next, it's all about what you're saying, and I have to respond to what you're saying. And a lot of times, people don't listen. But that's like what they really try to teach you is like character work and listening, which is why it translates to anyone.
Say listening again.
Listening.
This podcast also helps me listen a lot. Like I have to be very, very, very aware. Now listen. Now listen to this next one.
Now you listen.
Now you motherfucking listen. What is in your pride? This is so Why? Like why can't I'm so like still about that bullet point that I create.
Like, check. We talked about that.
Okay, but
check.
it is
Hang on,
pride
pause
right
it.
now, and everybody needs their pack. Now we went
the fanny
over
pack.
Yeah, or the fanny pack, or like just a starter pack of like how to be the most successful and happy during Pride.
Yes.
When they're walking the streets, whether they're going to a party, whether maybe even staying at home and watching a gay movie and having gay sex. What do you feel needs to be in that starter pack?
I'm gonna say Vaseline because it could be used as whatever you want it to be. But normally, like lips, like I love it as not lipstick, but lip gloss.
That's
like
genius.
Yeah, and
You
also
can use
if
it as
you need a
lube.
pinch, yes, it's like the best thing. And like if you have a cut, anything, I love Vaseline, and they have it in the like little cute sizes. I would bring flushable wipes because you never know. I was
Okay.
actually at I hate outhouses or.
I think they're outhouses.
Are they called
Yeah.
outhouses?
Or porta potty.
Porta potties. I hate them, and unfortunately, I had to go number 2, and I was like, and they had the worst wipes, and I was like, I really could use a flushable.
And you have to
wipe.
like hover over
Yes,
it.
you're squatted, and then I'm like, God, no, please just be a fart. And, it
And
wasn't.
aim is like so much more
Yeah.
important than any other aim. Like I don't even care if like you're trying to prepare for baseball and it's to show your
Yeah.
dad that you're more masculine and you like miss it. Like this aim is more important.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like a game, honestly. I'm like holding up right here. Anyway,
Measuring the angle. You're like measuring for a suit, but it's really actually like how quickly you can get the poop. When you go ahead.
so I would say flushable wipes because I could have used those yesterday. And then, I mean, maybe if you're into poppers, maybe like a handheld Bible in case you just need Jesus for a moment.
A script on the go.
I would New Testament. Let's leave the Old Testament at home.
Even if it comes with the old one, just kind of cut it
just
right
cut
in
it out.
half.
Yeah,
like
God
just
wouldn't
like
mind.
I
He was,
saw that.
God,
right
be like, I was kind of crazy back then.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite chapter in the?
So segueing into religious trauma. Now that we're out of the fanny pack.
Can you imagine we start going into that? I mean, I like Revelation.
What was one of my favorite things about me and JC when we hang out is like, so we both grew up in the church, and like, you know, the church songs, of course. And so you can just like, I'll start singing, and we both like can start singing and riffing. And then it's funny for like the first 10 seconds, and everyone there is like, oh, y'all know it. And then we don't know when to stop. So then we're like, oh, do you remember
We're
Steve's
like,
Curtis
when
Chapman?
we call on Jesus, all things are possible. Like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, and Nicole
Take the
Seymour,
shackles
she's-
off my feet so I can dance. I just want to praise you. Is that, God of wonders beyond our galaxy. See what I'm talking
You
about?
are
Holy, holy. Okay.
And so the listeners are like, okay, but our friends do the same thing.
no, they're in the car like.
They're like, hey guys, it was funny like the first time, but like, and we're literally like, we were at that Christmas party, and we had like 10 people, and we started doing that, and people are like, oh, laughing, and then like cut to 5 minutes later, it's just you and I, and we're
still
doing-
singing.
and we're still doing it.
And I was
where did everyone
dedicated.
go? The shackles on my feet. So I...
Well, speaking of church, when's the last time you went?
Oh, what is Sunday? Happy Lord's Day, by the way.
Amen.
Amen. It has been a minute. Actually, no, that's not true. It was last year.
Okay.
It was weird. I wasn't in a dark place, but I was just like, I kind of need like Jesus for a second. And I looked up a church, and I went to this beautiful, stunning church on Mulholland Drive. And then I went, and then it was empty. It was really sad. I was like, well, why is this place empty? And then the pastor started preaching, and I was like, oh, that's why. It was so boring. But it was nice to have a little bit of fellowship, but it was just so funny. Now that we're talking about church, because he was talking about how corrupt the left is, and how they're brainwashing kids, and he was talking about how and he brought up drag queens, and I was like, oh my God, am I gonna walk out, and blah blah blah, how innocent children are, and then he started talking about the statistics of Christians, if we don't tell kids about Christianity, statistically they're not going to become Christians by the time they're 20. And I'm like, do you realize that it is because of brainwashing young minds and how malleable they are. Like you just talked about how like innocent kids'
very
minds are.
contradicting.
And then they're like, we have to get the children. We have to. I'm like, that's an agenda. That is an agenda.
Chain the children, teach them our lesson.
They're like, they're going to be liberals if we don't get them soon. And I was like, okay, this is like, y'all have an agenda here. And that's kind of
Isn't
scary.
that crazy though? Because both you and I grew up so in a religious, very Republican household, but yet we ended up who we were. It's like so wild.
And we get to pick which pieces we like associate
Yeah.
with and love, because there are especially during Christmas time. I love the church. I love
Amen.
I love a
Amen,
Christmas
damn it.
special.
God damn
A
it,
little
man.
nativity scene. Oh, I'm horny. But no, I like there are pieces of it I like and miss. But yeah, it's been a minute since I've like been to church.
I used to go in Denver a lot. I went to this one called Red Rocks Church, and what I liked about it was a very like they didn't like shove Jesus down your throat like to the point you couldn't breathe. And then also I don't really like doing communion because like I'm not really into crackers. Like I actually would prefer like if you gave me a lot of crackers versus like one cracker. It's kind of like whenever I have low blood sugar and they're like get a snack and I'm like no, I want a fucking
whole
meal.
meal.
Like
Yeah.
I want a full entree. Don't give me like you know,
orange.
You know, yeah,
And
that
orange slice.
I don't really want that. I want more. So, and then also it's not really wine. So it's like kind of a lie.
I grew up going. The church I did was wine.
You're like,
Alcoholic.
You're
I
like-
literally
you're like, get him off the cross or I will.
nail me, pastor. Nail me. Can you? Oh, that would be funny. So sacrilegious. That's so funny.
Can you imagine?
Oh, so
I
funny.
mean, I don't even ever known if I've ever seen that kind of porn because I used to be really into the porn where like people were being a character of some sort. Yeah, but I never done the church one.
Well,
I did the Mormon one though.
You did see. I still to this day don't like the play on like religious like stuff. I think it's because I'm like scared.
Oh no, girl.
Oh, you like it?
I'm like, take me to church.
I'm a little altar boy.
I'm just like, show me daddy. The only thing about fucks me up about the Mormon one is that they wear so many like underwear things. They have like the long johns and the white t-shirts. I'm like, let's just get it all off. I'm getting hot watching it.
know,
And it's not hot, it's sexy.
No, it's like long. Yeah, the Mormon underwear. I just learned about that. I'm so uncultured with Mormon. But
Well,
our
they-
good friend Cragen they taught me so much about Mormon.
Does he wear underwear still?
Up until 29.
This is fucked up. But does he get it confused? Like when he wears a tank, like a fun tank? Does he
Like a sexy tank?
like the sexy, like the
He's like,
sexy
this
gay
is my
tank?
tank for God. This is my tank for the boys.
Can you imagine? And they're two separate parts of the room because he doesn't want them to interfere with
Different
each other.
They can't touch the fabric.
Yeah, they can't touch her. You're gonna be real gay.
No, I don't think he does any of it.
Okay.
Maybe he does. I don't know.
I wouldn't know what I would have to do if I once I'd get out of like the Mormonism to like wear those tanks again.
Yeah.
But I have to wear a tank.
He hasn't left Mormonism though.
work.
I know. I've met a lot of ex-Mormons. He's not an ex-Mormon. He will correct you.
Yeah, and
Which
there's
is,
a
I'm like, good for you for like. You
yeah.
know.
I just the underwear thing would just make me so hot during the summer.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
But I will say I have to wear a tank top underneath things during the summer. Like I couldn't wear a
Your nipples,
t-shirt.
They're just piercing.
Yeah, they're piercing and
Cut
they
glass.
spin. Because they're on a battery power. I have to wear it because like if I don't, then I'll mess up the fabric of my shirts. The reason why I wear tanks is like because if I get sweaty, it'll sweat onto the tank, not the actual shirt. That's why you actually do it. You're gonna sweat inevitably.
Yeah.
So like if you don't want to sweat and have back sweat on you're like taking notes. You're like should wear a tank every
I'm
single
like,
day.
I'm like always sweating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It so helps. Now I don't know about the underarm. Do you underarm sweat? Is that
It's
I
sweat.
can't tell.
Sweat.
Oh, is that sweat? I don't need to touch it. Thank you so much
You have
for
a boyfriend.
Yeah, don't need to touch your underarm. Thank you. But speaking of church, I'm all about still going for like a good lesson before the week. I used to love doing it in Denver because it just was a good refresh. Would I believe every single thing that they said? No. It's like watching CNN. Do I believe everything I see on TV? No, I'm not going to believe everything, but I'm going to take some elements out of it and apply it to life. It's really sad to me though that religion has made people so scared to even believe in God.
Yeah.
Which sucks because you and I are believers. Imagine you're like, well, actually, I don't believe anymore. But I am. I do. I mean, I go on my knees at night and I still do pray. You're
you
like,
do.
you nasty.
Yeah.
You're so dirty. Okay,
No, but
so
I completely agree with you. And also, like, praying is manifesting, which is crazy.
it is. Oh no,
Wow.
my mom taught me when I pray, I love to imagine while I'm praying the manifestation of certain things, or if I'm giving something to God, because my belief with God, just so everybody knows here, when I say God, I mean more of like an omnipresent energy that doesn't really exist. Let's go ahead and move on to something else. Okay, we already got enough God in this one. What else is in your pride pack?
Oh, back to the pride pack. Okay. Okay. Toothpicks. toothpicks. Mouth
Floss.
like
no.
the spray.
Toothpicks. Floss.
Floss.
You
But
get the
spray,
plastics.
the
Okay,
spray.
spray.
Or
Yeah,
gum,
yeah.
well, gum, but then also like the Listerine spray.
You know what? I love Listerine strips, and they have them on bulk on Amazon. That's actually where I buy them from.
really?
Because I love putting it on my tongue. It goes away. Like the spray thing, I'm always scared because I accidentally one time sprayed it in my eye, and it fucked my world up.
I got in trouble in school because I would spray people with it and like use it as pepper spray because I thought it was a funny joke.
You're
And
annoying.
it wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny at all. But the Listerine strip is really, really nice. The gum thing, I don't like the way if people chew with their mouth open, it really bothers me. So I'm a big advocate for not using gum.
Yeah.
I love how I'm like contradicting everything you said. So rude of me. I'm like inviting you on. I'm like, yep, I hate that. No poppers. No pride.
Pour it out.
What's your favorite popper?
Probably like the basic yellow one.
Oh, Rush.
Rush.
So easy.
Troye Sivan. Does it kill your brain cells?
I've always wondered
Because
that.
I feel like I have like been more like forgetful since I've done poppers.
I think
that
I've
could
always
just
been
be age.
Yeah. I thought you said AIDS at first. I was like,
Oh.
whoa.
No.
Dark. I do have a sense of guilt when I do it though.
Okay.
Like it's after it's so weird. Like if I jack off using poppers, I'll feel so guilty after it's so weird. I have to like pray.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like God's watching me more. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
whoa. Like I'm chill. You know what I mean? Like forgive me. You remember because you usually do.
I'm sorry you made me so tight. I have to take these.
Sorry, close your eyes. Can you imagine? Just like full. Because
Gabriel's just looking down like,
yeah, but then like my little devil, he's like, "Go girl."
nasty.
Lucifer's like, "Get it, mama."
Oh, he ain't even using lube, baby.
Oh, you nasty baby. God, pride is so funny. Well, Nick, thanks for coming on. It's a great way to end it. I think we went through every single thing we needed to.
We did?
today.
Okay,
wow, that was
perfect.
crazy.
That was crazy. I had
It
so
just
much
like
fun.
flashed before my eyes.
Yeah.
I know that people probably by now have ended this episode because they're like,
So if you are listening,
they're like, wow, they're really into Jesus play.
Jesus loves you. Which one do I look at? All three.
Jesus loves you. God is with you.
And you.
That's dark. Well, Nick, thanks for coming on. I was so excited to have you on, and thanks for, it was so hard because I had to go through so many loops to get you on. Because that no names, you actually went in and gave me no names to your assistant, to your team. I mean, it really went in deep. You took
It's a
that
miracle
line.
that I was able to be here with all the, the press and the bookings and the.
Speaking of
the
Jesus,
people's-
miracles.
Yes, miracles.
Yeah, and it is a miracle that we have you on today, and I'm grateful for it. Again, Jesus, great gratitude. And I'm so grateful that you're here. But
All
no,
things work out for those that love him or worship. I forget now.
let's get. Thou shalt not
we
lie.
cannot. We can, do you know all 10?
No. I
Okay. When you're going to hell.
remember the one where they like, if you look at somebody, like you're gonna get your eye cut off. Girl, I'd be blind by now.
Yeah.
Girl, I'd be like,
It's something about better to have your eyes taken out than like to lust. It's a lusting one.
But lusting is so much better. Like,
Whoever wrote that, like, clearly has never lusted.
or didn't have eyes.
They're like scribbling.
They're like doing a Morse code about it. So fucking wrong. We're gonna have blind kids. It's so wrong. Stop talking. JC.
They lusted.
Well, Nick, thanks for coming on. I really
Thanks for
appreciate it.
having me.
How do people find you on the internet?
My handle is the same on all of the social medias. It's Nick_Norcia. It's spelt like Norcia, Norcia, but it is Norcia.
And that's on TikTok. That's on
TikTok,
Instagram.
Instagram, Twitter, Threads,
Threads.
and YouTube.
X videos.
X videos, yes.
Pornhub. OnlyFans.
Sean Cody, I am Mike and Sean Cody.
Did you ever? Okay, really fast before we go, because we do need to wrap this up.
But you brought up Sean Cody, so
I'm like, I have to ask really fast though before we go. Did you ever subscribe to any of those? Did you ever pay?
No, I did not, because I was scared to get caught.
Okay.
But I wanted to, and I thought about getting a prepaid
I'm
gift
so
card.
I'm still curious. Like once you do it, like, do you really just get?
But
all
you get
of it?
you can get so much of it for free.
Yeah, but there's so many ones that you do want to click, and you're like,
The whole thing.
You spend your whole day like looking for it, and you can't find it, and you're like, well.
But then you
now-
find something else.
Yeah, and then you're done. I'm like, wow, I spent all that time. Well, you can also find me. I'm JC Queen. Obviously, you guys, know who Panina Lampoon is. He will be back in 2 episodes. I'm doing. I'm actually recording with my upstairs neighbors.
fun.
The next episode is going to be How to Be a Good Neighbor, starring my upstairs neighbor. I'm actually going to do it on this this Saturday. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much. Nick, thanks for coming on. Guys, it's all about being wholesome this Pride season. So make sure you take your prep and pack your doxy, and you make sure to have your
Lube
poppers.
and your poppers.
I love the
your
Vaseline.
flushable wipes.
The Vaseline thing was genius, by
Yeah.
the way, because it's like an all-in-one. It's like Head and Shoulders.
It is.
You get the shampoo and the conditioner.
It's so universal.
All in the Vaseline. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you guys for all the support, and we will talk to you guys next time. Bye.